Have you ever wondered if there was an easier way for you to lose your belly fat that didn't require you to count all of your calories or do long workouts? Well, spoiler alert, there is a way, and I've used it to lose 110 pounds and go from looking like this to looking like this. And in this video, I'm going to walk you through my 3 simple steps to get rid of your stubborn belly fat forever. Now, the first out of 3 steps to lose your stubborn belly fat is to actually figure out what the problem is that's causing you to have belly fat in the first place. Now, for some reason, when you look for advice on the internet on how to lose belly fat, you find blanket advice, which is advice that's one size fits all. But here's the problem with that, right? There's 3 reasons for you to have belly fat, and not everybody has all 3s. Some people might have 1, others might have 2, but very rarely do people have all 3 problems. And I'm going to show you the 3 problems that are on the board behind me. Now, the 3 reasons why you haven't lost your belly fat are movement, eating, and accountability. And I'm going to briefly explain each. But chances are, if you haven't lost your belly fat, you've probably got 2 or at least 1 of these problems. But the good news is that if we can just fix 1 of these problems, then you'll start losing fat very quickly. Now, the problem with movement, as you probably guessed, is that you're not moving enough. Now, how much should you be moving? We're going to talk about that in step number 2. But the first and most important thing that you've got to know is if you're not losing fat consistently, then you're not moving enough. And I'll also say that out of everything you can do to lose your belly fat, increasing movement is the easiest by far. Now, the problem with eating, as you've probably guessed, is that you're probably eating too much if you're struggling to lose belly fat. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to show you how much you need to be eating if your goal is to lose belly fat, but something else that I really want you to keep in mind is how much you eat is not nearly as important as what you eat. Now, the most underrated and less talked about reason as to why you haven't lost your belly fat is accountability. So how do you know that, and what proof do you have? Because here's the thing. I can make absurd claims. In the past 24 hours, I've lost 25 pounds, right? Okay, what would I have to do to convince you? If I show you me weighing myself the day before and I weigh 225 pounds, and then I show you today that I weigh 200 pounds, that would convince you, right? But if I just told you I lost 25 pounds in 24 hours, you wouldn't believe me, but you wouldn't say anything. And that's where an accountability partner comes in. You need someone to keep you honest. And this is exactly why we have weekly group coaching calls to keep each other accountable inside of my Minimalist Fitness program that you can join by clicking the link in the description. So once we figured out what exactly your problem is, the next step is to figure out how much we need to change that variable by for you to start losing belly fat. Now, let's talk about movement first. Keep in mind that we only need to change 1 thing at a time for you to start losing belly fat. So for you to fix your movement problem right now, you take whatever your daily steps are and increase 2,000 steps until you hit a high number that you can sustain. I'm not going to say 10K steps every day because, again, that is blanket advice. Not everybody can hit 10K steps every day. Some people are working long hours, and that's fine. But it's crucial that you at least move more than you are right now. So if you're currently at 3,000 steps every day, and say in a month you get to 8,000 steps, that's still very good. There's nothing magical about the number 10,000. Now let's talk about the part that everybody obsesses over, but in the grand scheme of things isn't that big of a deal, and that is eating. So how much should you be eating if your goal is to lose belly fat? I recommend taking your body weight in pounds and multiplying it by numbers starting from 10 all the way up to 14. Now, which number exactly do you multiply your body weight with? Well, that all depends on how much you're moving. So for the guy that lost 10 pounds in 1 month, we didn't change his movement at all because he was working blue collar. So he was already getting like 10 to 15,000 steps every day. His problem was eating. So I just took his body weight in pounds, and since he was so active, I multiplied it by the number 14, and that was his daily calories. Now for you, if you're working a desk job, maybe you're not moving around as much, you might want to multiply your body weight with 11 or with 12. Now keep in mind that these calories are still a rough estimate, and you're free to adjust them every now and again, taking them higher or taking them lower, depending upon whether you're not losing any weight or you're losing too much weight too quickly. But do not obsess about every calorie that goes into your mouth, because that is going to sabotage your fat loss journey for sure. Because I promise you, the more fun you have on this journey, the more successful you will be with it. Now, a question that you might have with accountability is, how often should I be, doing accountability check-ins or, talking to somebody that's going to keep me honest or whatever? And the answer to that is at least monthly. You've got to have someone checking in on you, on your workouts, on your movement, on your diet, whatever it is, at least on a monthly basis. Now, the reason that these accountability check-ins or these conversations about how your diet is going or how your movement is going are so important is because this takes fat loss and losing belly fat from the back of your mind and brings it to the very front of your mind. So the next time that you're reaching for that dozen donuts, you think twice. And this is why, I hate to bring this up again, but this is why we have weekly calls inside of my program. I'm sorry for promoting so much, but without accountability, it doesn't even matter what strategy you have, because if you're not following it, then it doesn't matter. Now, the third and final step to losing your stubborn belly fat forever is rather boring, but it's commitment. Now, one question that I want to answer that I always get whenever I tell people, oh my God, do this or this to lose fat is, how long will it take for you to see results? And all of that depends on how committed you are to the steps that I just gave you. Because like I said, I just had a guy lose 10 pounds in 1 month. He just followed the steps that I've just given you, and I kept him accountable. So the results you get are going to be highly dependent upon how committed you are. Now, if you want to speed up your results, you can click the top link in the description and work with me, or you could just watch this video about 25 lessons that I learned after losing 110 pounds. I'll see you in the next one.